Gameranx presents another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some straight-up gameplay and some of our thoughts on the latest games releasing. And today we're talking about Yooka Laylee, the long-awaited Kickstarter darling, the apparent big return to those 3D 90s platformers that we all loved growing up. Well, let's talk about this. Nostalgia is a powerful thing, but I think nostalgic things can exist and prey upon our feelings and do well, but also while walking a tightrope with bringing something new and interesting. Yooka Laylee basically comes straight out of the gate with a big sign on its face saying, hey, this is a rare game. You remember Banjo-Kazooie? Yeah. And you know what? Given their pedigree and some of the people behind this project, you certainly won't mind it much. But by leaning on classic 90s platformer conventions, I do think they have a solid game here that just falls short of the expectations where some people thought it was going to usher in a new era of platforming. It's good, but it's not that good. The setup is familiar enough. You're dropped into a hub world hidden with little puzzles and secrets and giant books to jump into. Each book brings you to one of the game's several worlds, and these worlds are filled with, things to collect, most notably the currency, which are quills, and pages. These are the equivalent of basically stars in Super Mario 64. These allow you to progress in-game. There are 145 pages to collect to finish this magic book that the bad guy stole, and there's lots of ways to get these, from completing an area, beating a boss, or finding hidden puzzles or areas. These systems feel familiar, but honestly it feels right at home. This is like warm apple pie equivalent of gaming. It's like you know what it is, it's comfort food, and that's something that I think is commendable of these style of games, even back from the early 90s, is that it is on paper just a complete collectathon, but it doesn't really feel like one because you're having fun navigating the environments throughout. And in a nice twist with these pages, what I do really enjoy is the ability to spend these pages not only to unlock new worlds and new books, but you can also spend and unlock an expansion on a world you've already unlocked. So this kind of opens up new paths and kind of broadens a level that you already have with new secrets to find. I think it's a good way of kind of turning that classic convention on its head. I don't know, it's a little bit of a refreshing twist, and I just wanted to mention it. The actual core gameplay here is pretty fun, save for a few frustrations here and there. Running and jumping feels fairly smooth, fluid, and fun, as it should. Attacks and jumps animate and connect pretty nicely. There's a nice little progression system of saving up the currency and buying cool new moves, and then using those moves to go get certain things. Sometimes you gotta do the Castlevania backtrack style stuff, and it works. I think it totally works for this game, and the way it's built around using these abilities to unlock things and get more pages, it works for me. However, the big caveat here is the camera. The camera is a complete mess, but this is also, of course, par for the course. Platform game cameras are notoriously terrible. Even all games that this game pays homage to are totally guilty of it. Banjo, Mario, and every other game in between totally is. But in Yooka Laylee, the unpredictability of the camera, sometimes being too slow, or sometimes way too jumpy, and sometimes just hanging onto the character's back way too closely, it just leads to the game feeling kind of imprecise and not always as fun as you would want it to be. While mechanically I think it is a problem, it's also going to come down to player preference because some players have a higher threshold of dealing with this than other people do. Thankfully, the levels and the abilities that I already mentioned are fun. I do think the game is kind of bookended with good worlds, with some in the middle feeling a bit wide open and bland, and a bit too many game show quiz things that do get annoying, but to each his own. These are personal annoyances. The gameplay makes for a slightly uneven, but mostly fun and relaxing kind of experience, Like I said, all of this stuff is stuff you've seen before, and it's stuff as a gamer you're probably perfectly capable of playing. And there's just lots to see, do, and collect, so that's a good thing. In terms of the story, setup, and characters, there's actually more dialogue than you would expect. There's just not a lot of real bite to any of it. There's some tongue-in-cheek British humor here, and some video game industry references here and there, but the characters and personalities just didn't really do it for me. Is it because I'm older now? Who knows? Except for Trousers. That guy's really awesome. I love that snake dude. This is subjective, this is completely up to you. Everyone's gonna be different in this regard. This to me though just feels like a gameplay first game. Some just may find it a little bit of an uninspired experience. Thankfully though, the music is pretty inspired. It's from a rare music composer, Grant Kirkhope, and I think all the music is really great. There's good differentiation between the areas, and it just sounds great and high quality and probably one of the most polished aspects of the game. The game also gives you Recstro Arcade, which is basically an arcade full of playable little Yooka Laylee mini games. It's notable because some are fun, but some are pretty lame, and some are frustrating, and some are just there. But it is worth noting because you can play these multiplayer, and they may be worth a good bit of fun here and there. And I will say that this isn't a full-priced game, and you do get a decent amount of content here. There's enough to collect, there's mini games to play, and the worlds are big enough that you're going to be playing this for quite a while. It's just whether or not you're really going to have a ton of fun, I think, is going to come down to player preference. This is not the amazing run out, go get it, bring back 3D platformers experience that a lot of people were hoping it to be. But I also don't think it's a complete disaster. It is pretty fun, it's just not the most exciting experience. It's pretty cut cut and dry. I don't have a lot of nuanced things to say about this because it is a simple style game. But that's how a before you buy works. I give you the systems, some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion thrown in there, but now I definitely want to hear yours down in the comments. If you've been following this game from the beginning, maybe you were a Kickstarter backer, I want to know your thoughts. There is a fan following for this game. I don't know if it's deserved, but if you like it, I want to hear about it. If you're curious, maybe you've never grown up playing games like this, I want to know what you think as well. And if you're on the outside looking in and you don't know anything about this game and you don't care, what's your perspective after seeing this video? Let's talk about anything Yooka Laylee down in the comments. I'll be answering as many questions as I possibly can. I've been playing this game non-stop, so hopefully I can. But if you got anything else for me, I'll also be on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino as well. But you guys know the deal by now. Clicking that like button helps us out a ton. We appreciate it. We live and die by you guys, so thank you. And if for some reason you are new, subscribing is a good idea because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey.